so I will remember to share that.
Okay.
Yeah, and Ashley can share that out as well when she hops in.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. I'll get it. So Ted, you're based in Arizona?
Nope, not anymore. I after I finished at Chandler-Gilbert in 2018, I went to Missouri and I spent
Okay.
3 years in Missouri, and now I'm in Wisconsin.
All right, all right. How are you liking the cold over there?
Well, it's not as cold as where I'm from. I'm from Canada, so.
Oh man, that's a whole
Still-
different
still
level right
nicer.
there.
Yeah. But it's not bad. I like it.
Yeah, okay, okay.
I'm thinking I want to get further south yet, though.
All right, all right. Arizona was a perfect spot for me, especially
Yeah.
originally coming from Africa. So weather-wise, it wasn't a shock.
No, I was gonna say, how does that compare?
So Senegal is on the west side of Africa. It's more on a tropical side in terms of weather-wise. Doesn't snow, doesn't get too hot or too cold. So kind of California type of weather. Let's put it that way.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's up, Tate?
Hello. How are you?
Fine, looking like a grown man.
Getting there. Getting there.
Wow, it's so good to see you.
You too. How have things been over there?
Oh, it's all good in the hood. Where you at now, Tate?
I'm living in Wisconsin right now.
Wisconsin. That's what I was telling my class. I was hoping some people would hang back. I just ended class early so I could log on and hear you and Ibrahima's story. I'm really excited to hear what you're doing and what your experience was after you left Chandler-Gilbert.
Yeah, I'm happy to share. I think it's cool getting to. I mean, yeah, who knows who from there might follow in similar footsteps, right? So.
Yes.
Ibrahima.
Hey, Mr. Matar, how you doing?
Oh my gosh, good. How are you?
Good. I see some gray hair now.
Yeah, there is a lot of it too. Where are you? Are you in Senegal? Where are you?
Yeah, I'm in Dakar right now, Senegal. Dakar, Senegal.
Okay. It's so good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. Good to see you too.
The ceiling height inside the home, I don't even care about that. It's really.
How's family? Family doing well?
Yeah, family's good. Actually expanding. Just had a baby boy about a month ago.
Yay! You had 2 girls and now a boy.
Yeah, boy. Now.
So you have Mariam, Fatima, and what's the new boy name?
Muhammad.
Muhammad. Wow. How old is Mariam? Is she 5 or 6 now?
Mariam is 6. Fatima is 3. And then the new one just 1 month old. So
yeah, you're a very busy man.
trying, catching up.
You must be Tate. I don't.
Yes.
Okay, hi Tate. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you. Did you take a class with me? I don't remember. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I met you one time. You gave a presentation to one of our classes.
Okay.
But no, never had any classes with you personally. No.
Okay. Well, thank you for doing this. Appreciate it.
Of course. Yeah. Fanny and Nicole were my favorite instructors at Chandler-Gilbert, so I couldn't say no to them.
That's great.
And Tate, you and your team, you still reign supreme on that NAE Grand Challenge presentation that you made about solar energy, and
And,
it still
you know,
it still rains.
I wasn't even in that group.
You were not?
No, but the funny thing is, because I remember it as well, it was changing the battery game.
Yes, changing the battery game.
It's because they did that presentation, and then for our Lego Mindstorms project, I was with 3 others from that group. So it was the same group plus me for the
Oh,
Lego Mindstorm. So that I got clumped in with them after they gave that great presentation. And
yes.
I'll take it. If you remember me that way, I'll take it.
Well, I knew you ended up with that group. I can't remember Mitch, and I can't remember the other 2 people's names.
Tyler, I think his name
Tyler.
was.
Is that the one who wanted his own engineering firm?
I don't remember that. I know he was former military, had lots of tattoos. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Yeah, I haven't heard much from him lately, other than occasionally on social media I'll see some of his posts, and I know he bought a new truck a couple of years ago.
Ibrahim, when the last time you were in Liberia?
Actually, just last year, I
Last
was
year?
there.
In Monrovia, in the capital?
In Monrovia. I'm planning to go there again in a month. In a month, I'm planning to go there again.
Okay.
So you need to put me in contact with your.
I don't have that many family there. Now they are. Do you go to Sierra Leone at all or no?
Yeah, I do also. Sierra
You
Leone,
do? Okay, I can connect you with people there.
All right.
And they can show you around.
For sure. Yeah.
I think we can maybe wait 2 more minutes,
Okay.
waiting
No
for somebody
problem.
coming in, and after that we start. Nicole, do you have students back in your classroom? You are muted. Yeah, we cannot hear. You are still muted. Let me, oh, that may be the mic. Oh, wait. Maybe she's talking with the class. I'm not sure. Yeah, because our class is not ending yet, so she say it's just to stay.
Okay.
Oops. That's a EC 102 class or EC 103 class? Hi, Mike.
Hello, Fanny.
How are you?
Good to see everyone. Ibrahim,
Hello, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
I'm glad to see some familiar faces still around Chandler-Gilbert.
You notice he has more gray hair than me.
But
I can't stop it. It just keeps jumping out of my head.
Right?
but looks like Bassam, yours is growing faster.
Yes, it is. It is.
It's what you do.
Yeah. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really well. And you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good too.
Good to hear.
Good.
I'm glad to see you, and I want to hear an update of you and your life and your family and everything. It's really exciting for me to see you.
Yep. It's been maybe close to 10 years now or more.
Yeah. Time flies. Quick.
I know.
Okay, let's start. It's really awesome to see people that were at Chandler-Gilbert like 10 years ago, like 12 years ago, and 5 years ago. We will have amazing speakers today. So let me make a short introduction. So first, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. That will be also recorded so we can share with our online students that are taking online class because they work during the day. This is our third Where Are They Now speaker series, where we invited former CGCC engineering students to share their journey after CGCC, university and professional career. We have one last tour next week. That will be with two computer science students. We will start today with Tate Morrell, mechanical engineers. He studied at CGCC in 2017, 2018, if I make correct calculations, and he played with the baseball Coyote team during his time. After CGCC, he transferred to an out-of-state university. So you will see that it's possible to transfer your credit to out-of-state with some challenges, but it's possible, and he works now in Wisconsin. So welcome, and thank you, Tate, for sharing your journey with us.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me. I'll start sharing my screen here. All right, can we see that just fine?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, so yeah, like Fanny said, my name's Tate Morrell. I grew up in Canada in a small city called Lloydminster, Alberta. And when I was 16, I actually moved away from home about 5.5 hours to play at a baseball academy because I wanted to continue to play baseball at the highest level that I could. And in Canada, with the summers so short, we had to travel a lot to find places where you could play. And I love food, so I threw a couple pictures of some good food I've had recently in there. After I graduated high school, away from home, I moved down to Chandler-Gilbert in 2017. And I'll be honest, I struggled my first year, mentally and on the baseball field. Arguably, I was one of the worst players on the field. But you know, college is a tough time, and I guess I got a little story that if you're struggling at all, it should put things into perspective. So we had a baseball game one Saturday at 3 p.m. and my phone had died. It wasn't plugged in properly. And I ended up sleeping in all the way until 3:21. And at this point, I'd missed the warm-up. I'd missed the first inning of the game. And my team had actually called a bunch of my friends who had tried to come to my apartment and had actually called the cops. Well, they thought that I had actually killed myself. And knowing what I now know, at the time, I was actually incredibly depressed. I didn't have any major reasons to be. I mean, I enjoyed my life at the time, and I wasn't in a place that was bad enough to actually commit suicide, but my team knew that I was struggling, and they were there looking out for me. So I just want you guys to know that there are always people, you know, in the community of post-secondary education that, you know, see those things and watch out for you. And I do recommend, you know, take advantage of your counselors, those sort of things, because it's not always easy. So after dropping a little bit of that bomb there, well, after that, it got better, obviously. But I found out briefly afterwards that my advisor, when I first started at Chandler-Gilbert, he put me in the wrong classes to start with. So I wasn't able to take my science courses in the right order. I ended up needing to take 2 18-credit-hour semesters and then 6 credit hours during the summer over my two years there. So I ended up taking 72 credit hours in 2 years. And with my baseball schedule, that ended up being a pretty heavy course load. In fact, with one of Fanny's classes, the statics and dynamics combo, it was from 7 to 9:30 p.m. on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays. And I remember at the end of that semester, I had a 47% in attendance because I missed so often for baseball. But Fanny was so helpful to me, and I was able to pass. I think more than pass, I did just fine. But I'm always grateful for that. So just remember, your teachers they're always there for you as well. After the end of my second year, I graduated with the NJCAA Academic All-American Award. It's basically just, you know, I did well enough in school while also playing sports, and I earned 3 different associate's degrees in my 2 years there. After Chandler-Gilbert, I managed to get recruited to go play baseball at the Missouri University of Science and Technology, which was a great place for me to be because it connected me with like-minded people who were also taking engineering classes, and it gave me an opportunity to keep playing baseball, which is what I wanted to do. So I spent 3 years there. COVID being in the middle gave me an extra year of eligibility, so I was able to play 5 years college baseball. And almost luckily, as a result of COVID, we lost a season. But that same season, at the start of the season, I'd broken my thumb, and there's a picture of it there. So I wouldn't have been able to play for most of the season anyway. I had a big mentality shift when I ended up at S&T. So my mental health like massively improved. And honestly, I learned a lot more from life than I did from school. And I learned to get out of my own head, reduce, my negative self-talk about failure on the field and off the field. And then I just honestly, contrary to what I'm here for, is I decided I didn't want to end up an engineer for the rest of my life. So even though that's what I'm doing now, the goal is eventually to get away from that. And I think that's perfectly fine. And the reason I chose engineering was that it gave me the most options to do other things as well. So don't let your major, I guess, tie you down, is what I'm trying to say. If you're interested in Missouri S&T, with some nice stats there, there was actually just an article released about basically the cost compared to the average return on going to school. And apparently, according to the New York Times, we ranked like in the top 10 in the United States. So I thought that was pretty cool. Finishing my career at S&T, I found a job on LinkedIn and moved to Wisconsin. So now I'm living in Wisconsin, working for Cardinal Glass Industries. I'm basically just a glorified maintenance technician, which I kind of love. I don't use a lot of my education, but I get to work on millions of dollars worth of equipment every day. And I apologize, I'm getting a call. And yeah, here's a couple pictures of some of the equipment I work on. On the left, it's one of our new lines that we just installed over the past year in this new $63 million facility we just built, or actually bought and then renovated. In the middle, it's a massive storage system. So Cardinal Glass, at my location, we cut, temper glass, and assemble them into insulated glass units. So in residential buildings, you'll see usually 2 panes of glass with spacer in between, and there's a sealer that holds that all together, and then they fill the inside with argon as an insulator. So that's what we do. The storage system in the middle here basically just sorts these panes of glass, and then we'll pull them off one at a time and put them onto the line so that we can assemble them. Here's a few more of the machines I work on that are not part of the assembly line, but that deal with the spacer that goes between the glass. If you're interested about any of those, you can ask about them later. And looks like, did Nicole just ask a question here? My thing's minimized.
I can read it for you. That's
Sure.
What career will you be transitioning to outside of engineering? And I think you have the answer on your slide.
Yes. Yeah. So my goal right now is to try to get into real estate. So as an international working in the United States, there are definitely some restrictions, but I've always had an interest in focusing on like entrepreneurial pursuits. And to start that off, there is some legal room within the field of real estate. So that's where I'm starting right now. I've got a nice network of real estate investors in the area here, and I'm working with a few people to basically just get my feet wet and start investing here this year. But just to finish up about my history at Cardinal and how I feel about it, I'm actually really happy with where I ended up because I'm not stuck behind a desk all day. I have the opportunity to move around. I used to walk over like 3 miles a day, and now I have got a bike. I ride a bike around at work. It's actually a trike with a basket in the back for my tools. And I love the people I work with. I get to meet tons of new people every day as they shift their, the production personnel between lines. And so I've developed some good relationships there. And when things are not broken, I have the opportunity to be at my desk and working on real estate and calling up agents and finding properties and stuff like that as well. So that's what I really like about my job. And if you're curious to know more about it, I linked the Cardinal website on the previous slide, or you can just Google Cardinal Glass Industries, and we're the first result. There's actually an IG location, the same as mine, in Buckeye, Arizona, which is very close to you guys. or if you're in Arizona, that is. The advice I have for you guys as a student, as an engineer, or just as a general student, I've seen a lot of people already recommending this, but joining clubs and organizations are massive. In my opinion, employers look less at your GPA and more at, you know, what you've been involved in. The hands-on learning is massive. And I wasn't particularly a great student when it came to the habits I had. I didn't study a lot. I often did the bare minimum to complete the work, and usually I did a decent job, but I didn't retain any of the information that I had learned. So now, having only been out of college for less than a year, I probably couldn't tell you half of what I learned, especially at Missouri S&T, because I didn't put in the time to, you know, continue working on the stuff that we were learning over the course of the semester to really let that information sink in. And I just want to say that, you know, your education doesn't end with college. I think there's so much more out there that you can learn, and I would recommend that you choose to never stop learning. As for advice for life, there's been a few quotes that have really changed, I guess, my perspective and how I live my life. A few of them I've thrown into some of these slides, and there's just a couple others here that I want to mention. Is last year I heard this great quote, and it's, most people overestimate what they can accomplish in 1 year and underestimate what they can accomplish in 5. So don't get discouraged if your plans aren't looking like what you want them to after 1 year, and just know that in 5 years, things can change a lot more than you think. So just keep working on them. The 5-25 rule is actually a story I heard. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but this is the way I heard it. It's a story about Warren Buffett's pilot. And basically, Warren Buffett has his private jet, and the pilot of this jet goes up to Warren Buffett, and he's like, "Oh, there's this new jet coming out in 5-10 years." He's like, "Maybe when this jet is, when it's time to change jets," he's like, "I'd like to get that one." And Warren Buffett says, "Well, if you're working for me in 5 years," he's like, "I've failed you as a boss." And the pilot says, "Well, what do you mean?" And Warren Buffett makes him go home basically and write a list of the 25 things that he wants to accomplish most in life. And so the pilot comes back with this list of 25 things, and Warren Buffett asks him, "How are you going to accomplish these things?" And so the pilot says, "Well, I'm going to work on this and then this." And he kind of goes through the list, and he says he's going to bounce from one thing to the other. And Warren Buffett says, "No, that's not how you do it." He says, "Circle the top 5 things on that list. And the rest of them, other than the top 5, are your do not do ever list. Because usually those bottom 20 items are going to take your attention away from what's most important in your life." So he says, focus on the top 3 to 5, it doesn't have to be 5 exactly, but focus your attention on what you really want to accomplish, because it's those things that mean the most to you, and they're going to be the hardest to accomplish. Now, once you knock a few of those off your list, by all means, add some more things in. But I frequently have to tell myself this when it's, when I start doing things like playing video games, or, just getting distracted by other things that I want to do, but aren't crucial to where I see myself in the future. It's like, yeah, those are things I want to do, but they're not the most important to me. And I think you have to learn to trim those out. And other than never stop learning, there's another quote by a YouTuber I just started watching, whose name is Alex Hormozy. And he said one thing that has stuck with me. It's quite cheesy, but he said, a lot of people are investing in the S&P 500. He says, don't invest in the S&P, invest in the S in me. Basically just means like invest in yourself. He's like, build your earning capacity. So many people, it's like they end up with whether it's a lower or mid-tier job, they just put away all their extra money into savings, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think you can get a lot more out of life if you work on yourself and you increase your earning capacity so that you can go out and make more money from where you're currently at. So that's something that stuck with me. And that's all I've got. So thanks, guys. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. Feel free to send me an email or a text message or a call. My cell number's on there. If you want to talk about real estate, engineering, Chandler-Gilbert, I'm up for any of it. So thank you guys so much.
I see Nicole has a question. Nicole, can we wait at the end? We will wait at the end to have all the questions together. Perfect. Okay, Bassam, I'll let you introduce Ibrahima.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Excuse me. So I just want to very quickly, Ibrahima one day came to me in my ECE 102 Intro to Engineering, said, Bassam, I need to know more about electricity because one day I would love to go back home and help people get electricity because where he grew up, electricity is not always on. And it's like, when I heard that, it's like music to my ears, you know, okay, I know exactly the degree you want to go into, which is electrical engineering, which is my degree. And I grew up kind of similar situation, you know, I didn't have electricity all the time. So Ibrahima started at Chandler-Gilbert, moved on to ASU, and the rest of the history, now he's back home doing exactly what he wanted to do, help people have electricity. Right, Ibrahima? So I want to welcome Ibrahima Diab, a former student from Chandler-Gilbert, and he's going to share with us his journey from Chandler-Gilbert to where he is now. Thank you.
Thank you, Bassam. Thank you for the beautiful introduction. So let me try to share my screen right now.
Do you have the option on the bottom? Oh, yes, perfect.
All right, you guys can see this?
Yeah, we can see it. It's still in small, not in presenter mode.
Okay, let me get that going.
Yeah.
Better now?
Yeah, that works perfect. And you can close the little window that is on the bottom. Yes, this one.
Better?
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, that's
Okay.
great.
All right. Thank you very much, Bassam, for the introduction. Really, when you reach out about this presentation, it is dear to me because CGCC is almost a family to me. So my name is Ibrahim Diop, electrical engineering and then power system. That's what I graduated on. So I'm from Senegal, as you see here on the lower left corner, which is a small country, about 2/3 the size of Arizona. And then if you look at the picture I put in, that's a picture that hit me actually when I was a student, not at CGCC, but at ASU. I was doing some research, and then this is an aerial view of a nighttime picture from NASA, showing every single part of the world how it is electrified. And if you see a couple of spots. You see Africa being one of them. You see maybe Australia, and then you see, the south side of southern side of America. And then you see it's a direct correlation, electricity and then the state of every single country in terms of development. So that hit me, and then it kind of resonated to the initial passion I had, which is how to bring electricity back home, as Bassam mentioned. And then as of right now, if you do some research from the World Bank, they're telling you around 600 million people in Africa don't have access to electricity currently, out of 1.2 billion. So meaning half of the population don't have access to electricity. So now I'm at this stage of my life where being a student, you're taking your classes and all that, but you don't know exactly how you're impacting. So I'm glad to come here and then share some of the impact so far that has been done. In this slide, you will see a little bit of my timeline in terms of what my overall background has been. So I joined CGCC in 2008 to 2012. And then when I joined in, I still do remember, like not even being able to speak one single word of English. I will get back to it in the next slide. And then from 2012 to 2014, I was able to transfer at Arizona State University, doing my bachelor in electrical engineering. And then from 2015 to 2018, I started working with one of the main utility in Arizona, which is Arizona Public Service. So mainly Chandler, let's say Tempe, part of Gilbert is being served by SRP, but the wider region of Arizona is being served by Arizona Public Service. So I worked with them for about between 2015 and 2018. After that, I did my transition to another company, which is in Chandler too, called Eaton Corporation, still within the electrical engineering side, power system. Spent there from 2018 2020, and then starting 2020 I joined the current job I'm in right now called African Energy, and then it's been almost a year and a half now. I've been definitively based in Dakar, Senegal, where everything kind of started. So my story in Chandler-Gilbert Community College. So I started in 2008 taking English as a second language as a class. As I said previously, I didn't speak a single word of English. So some of the main classes were just listening or communication or like reading. That was a founding block of my journey in Chandler. I did that for 2 semesters. If you look at the picture on the upper right, that's that first semester when I joined in, and then it was still, during the spring semester, a little bit cold for me, especially coming from Africa. And then I'm not sure if the teacher is still there, Mrs. Edwards. She was running like the English as a second language department. So I did that for a year. So once my English foundation was a little bit decent, I started really looking into the engineering side, in which I was interested in. And then I still do remember the first class I took as an engineering class was ECE 102. And then I was sitting at the back of the class, and then I see somebody teaching some classes, some courses, some advanced, softwares that was Excel during that time that I couldn't grasp at all. So I sat down at the back of the class just taking notes. And then at the end of the class, Basam, who was that teacher during that time, noticed that I was sitting on the back, and then I didn't ask no question, and then I was quiet. So he approached me, asking me exactly if I did understand like what was done today. So in my broken English, I just told him a little bit. So he understood that this new student might need more assistance or more mentoring. But meanwhile, he ended up understanding my background, and then the rest is history. He ended up being almost like a mentor or godfather to me. So as he mentioned earlier, when I told him what I wanted to do, he told me electrical engineering is the route. So from there, I've been with Bassam for almost 2 or 3 years at Chandler-Gilbert Community College. Like from his recommendation, ended up being a tutor at the Learning Center. Him and then Dr. Paul, I'm not sure if she's still there. She was teaching physics classes. So at the Learning Center, it was almost a family too. So I was tutoring there math, physics, French, and then English classes. And then Eva Falaita was running it too, like the department. So it was a family too, in such a way that I finish my classes. I go, help out students, teach students math classes from algebra to all the way to calculus to linear algebra and all that. And then meanwhile, soccer has been a passion to me too. So what I keep telling my friends, engineering is plan B for me. I always wanted to be also a professional soccer player. So I also joined the soccer team for 2 years, play with them. And then I was also academic all-American in that. And then I had a chance to exchange a lot with Mike, who was attending now. So he was part of that journey too. And then after my journey at Chandler-Gilbert Community College, I ended up getting my associate degree. As you see, still have someone's picture. I don't think Bassam had it, so he's down there, and then Dr. Paul, she's there. So this is my journey in Chandler-Gilbert Community College. So once I finished my associate, I was trying to find a way to transfer to ASU, knowing that not only financial was one of the main issues, at the same time, trying to figure out how to do that transition, I was able to get a full scholarship with one of the program, which is called, I'm going to talk about it now, which is called the MasterCard Foundation Scholarship. So this scholarship came in at the right time throughout my journey. So basically, it was targeting young leaders from sub-Sahara Africa that have potentially going to be impacting their country, and then want to be one day going back and then try to impact their community. So based on your academic and then your professional and then your leadership skills, you're going to be given a full ride scholarship. So I was able to get that scholarship in 2012. That's when I transitioned to ASU. So when I joined in ASU too, doing research, being involved in clubs or soccer has been something also I carried on. So I was able to be part of the FURY program, which is the Fulton Undergraduate Research Initiative. So basically what it does, it is a program in which the student is being paired with a faculty member. So for 2 semesters, you'll be conducting research, and then at the end of each semester, you'll be doing a presentation at a symposium. And then like even your peers and then like all the engineering departments at ASU are going to be attending, and then you're going to have a chance to present it. So one of the study I've done actually was still related to Africa. So it was combining generation of solar and wind in order to supply the 24-hour need in a region. For Senegal, it is located on the west side of Africa, which is right next to the Atlantic Ocean. So meaning during nighttime, it is windy. You can use, the wind to harness like electricity. And then during the day, as you see, Senegal is based almost on like the equatorial line, which is almost the Sahara Desert. So it is sunny most of the time. So you can use solar during the day and then wind during the night to kind of compensate most of the electricity needed, especially renewable electricity. So I've done that for 2 semesters, and then I was able to present it also. At the same time, as I said, soccer has been something very important to me. I was playing also on the soccer club, as they don't have an NCAA men's soccer team. So I joined there, played with them for 2 years too, had a chance to travel all around New Mexico, California, and all that. And then I was able to graduate with my electrical engineering degree, and then at the same time, minoring in sustainability. Now, talking about engineering. When I graduated, you just see a light bulb being, turned on and turned off. And then you can have the theoretical understanding of what you've learned in school, but practically you don't have like that much idea what's happening on the background. So when I finished, I was hired by the local utility, as I was telling you, Arizona Public Service. And then they had a wonderful program in such way, 2 years, you're going to be part of a rotational program. So every 6 months, you're going to be joining a new department. So that gives you a good understanding about the field you're in. And then within the field you're in, there's many subfields in it. So for my case, I was able to be in 4 different fields: distribution engineering, substation engineering, transmission engineering, and then operation engineering. Okay. Now, to explain that, as you see on the upper right corner, you have your generation side. You talk about your nuclear plants or your gas-based plant. So for your case in Arizona, you will have, the Palo Verde, or you're going to have for the gas base, you're going to have the Ocotillo, which is in Tempe. So those are your generation side. And then your substation, that's where you have to kind of step up your voltage in order to transport it in long distances. So that's what those big lines you see out of the city coming in, those are transmission line, but it has to go through a substation. Once it goes through a substation in your city, it has to be stepped down again in order for, people locally in order to be able to use it, because the voltage need to be stepped down. And then once it is stepped down, That's where you're gonna have your voltage gonna be used, you know, at the residential side or commercial side or industrial side. So for my case, as I said, I was able to see the substation side, the transmission side, and then the distribution side. So it gave me a, you know, a good feeling about what is the field about. And then like here are some pictures, like being on the ground. That's one of the cool thing about this job. Not only you do some engineering analysis, at the same time you go on the field to see exactly what's how you're going to implement your project. So some of these pictures are on the distribution side of the business. Like the second picture you see right here, this is you know, regulators and then capacitors that we had to deploy. This is up north around Flagstaff. You know, when you have long lines, you have some voltage drop. So we had to mitigate that by adding voltage regulators and capacitors. So these are some sites visit, making sure that on our analysis, our modeling, everything is per scope. And then when you see a picture, this picture, which is a substation, right here, it is also like by Grand Canyon. So I had to work on this one, designing it in order to expand the capacity that was needed for one of the clients. And then on the far right, this is another picture at an industrial facility where we have to do an arc flash analysis. So by regulation, every single site, every single electrical component need to be assessed and then need to be vetted out by qualified companies or engineers. And then from there, people working locally there can work safely. So this is a process in which you have to put your gear in order to mitigate any accident that might happen within the process. So my previous slide was my story in America, and then this is a story in Africa. Let's put it that way. So as I said, since 2020, I joined in African Energy. So, and part of this whole process, I've been always trying to find a way how to relocate back home. So started with Arizona Public Service. That's a utility, it is fixed. You cannot take it with you and then say, I'm going to work for you from, you know, from Senegal. Impossible. So from there, I jumped into another company called ETA. So it is an international company that is all over the world, but I couldn't find the right opportunity that's going to help me to kind of, you know, use that and then do the things I want to do in Africa. And then 2020, this company came in, African Energy, which is a solar distributor company that is serving solely the African market, 100%. So we are currently working with more than 600 solar companies all around Africa, providing solutions, providing training, and then at the same time, making sure that they receiving the right amount of information and the quality equipment. So it is a US-based company, but doing business 100% in Africa. So currently, as you see on the map on the upper right, so far, I've been almost like a bird just traveling around. But most likely, I'm handling West Africa. As you see, most of my countries I'm kind of covering is in West Africa. So at the same time, for this position I'm in, providing training to solar companies, also managing and supervising like a couple of depots all around Africa, because that's where we kind of stock our goods in order to supply the need on the ground. Also assisting in technical design and analysis. So some of the pictures here you can see, one of them, the far left, this one was in Burkina Faso, providing a training. And then like the one on the middle right here was in Niger. I'm not sure if some of the country I'm saying like that some of you guys are familiar in it, but Niger, Burkina is almost like the Sahara Desert. And then, you know, it's big country, the electric grid is not stable. So solar is like the solution to go. And then the middle picture, as I said, it was at the school with some student kind of playing with some panels and then battery and then some regulators. And then the picture right here was a project that I had to go help commission in Niger that was funded by the World Bank. So it was deploying solar system in about 20 healthcare facilities. And then the last picture on the right was in Liberia, where the Ministry of Health had to expand its building just post COVID-19. So as the load is increasing, the grid is not stable. So we provided the solar solution for them. So advice for current student. So I would say be curious, define your goals and passion. So I would say that's the foundation. What's your passion? Because that's going to dictate anything you're going to do in life. Like getting your degree is one thing, it's going to help you get a job, but are you going to be doing that for the next 20, 30 years? Set the bar high, try to be an A student. So for my case, while being a student, I have 2 or 3 good friends of mine. A was the only answer. If you fall short, guess what? You're going to take a B. And then study, turn in your homework on time, because that's the foundation again. This is just a training ground. School is cool, but once you go to your work, turning things on time is critical, especially projects in which you are not the only one in that project. Everybody going to be chipping in. So join clubs, look for scholarship and internship, be proactive on that. Go talk to your advisor, to your supervisors, to your, to your teachers, trying to find for opportunities. You got to leverage your school assets. So the school is a good way. The Learning Center is one of them. They have partnership with other universities. Make sure to leverage that. So network. Why I would say that networking is very important. I can testify to that. Being in the power field, it's a tight niche. Everybody knows each other. I can tell you, the job I was having at Arizona State University, at APS, when I finished there, the transition I did to go to the next job with Eaton, the person who hired me was almost a classmate back in Chandler-Gilbert Community College. But he was just 1 more year ahead of me. And then even some of the people, until right now, we're still in touch because the work is asking for it. It's a tight niche. So make sure you network. And then your brain is your name. That's something I got from my first job. A colleague told me, Iba, they call me Iba. Guess what? Your brain is your name. Why I would tell you that? If you bring in an engineering package, you put it down on the floor, the first question is going to be asked, who did work on this? If people know who worked on that, guess what? If you're a good guy, people know that you're not even missing 1 dot or 1 comma, or like your engineering is sound, guess what? There's a high level of trust. If it's the other case, guess what? You're going to bring in a lot of headache to everybody. Just try to review your work again. So your name is your brain. You got to take it to whatever you do in life. So these are my advice for the student. And then I would say thank you. And then merci, Jara, Majarajov. These are the 4 languages I speak. And then here my information. And then please feel free to reach out to me if you have any question. And I'll leave you with this quote from Mandela that says, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And then I can testify to that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ibrahima. So if you have questions, you can put them in the chat. I can read them, or you can ask them loud. Let's go with the question from Nicole for Tate. Do you see any transferable skills from the engineering academics and profession into your real estate career?
So there's not a lot of directly transferable information, I guess, so far as from from the degree of mechanical engineering. However, I think really from any degree, the skills you learn in terms of just managing information, problem solving, and honestly, what you might learn more outside of engineering, the soft skills and the people skills, are things that I'm finding most applicable really in the real estate industry, especially because as an investor as well, it's kind of like sales, but you're not selling anything, you're trying to buy well, you can be selling, but at least in my case, I'm trying to buy real estate. So just building connections with people, having a network, those types of things, really.
Thank you. For Ibrahima, what are the strengths and challenges you face in distributing electricity in Senegal?
So I would say Senegal, we are a little bit ahead compared to the majority of West Africa. The grid is getting a little bit better now, stable. Okay. So some of the challenges that the utility is facing is mainly the distribution side in terms of how they don't have an overall side of how the electricity is being consumed. So what I mean by that, they don't have enough smart devices. That's what I call it, comparing it to the US. So meaning the utility side sometimes is running at a loss. So they don't have enough metering, and or sometimes you don't have enough data points in order to make your system more efficient. But now there's more partnership going on, especially with the European Unions or even with the US, actually, with the USAID Power Africa that was initiated by Obama. So all that expertise is being brought down, and the collaboration is being made in order to make that distribution side more efficient. But on the solar side, some of the issues that we are seeing is the unreliability of what I would say parameters, like the stability of the grid. So when the grid is not stable, you're having a lot of issues, especially your solar equipment being impacted, big damage. So those are some of the issues I'm seeing.
And let me just rebound on that, Ibrahima. How much do you work with mechanical engineering and other professions in your job when installing solar panel?
I would say mechanically, a lot of the things is starting to be made locally. Let's say for solar panels, you will need some rails, right? And then usually people here they don't go the extra step to do the designs. You're just gonna have some local guys gonna be putting some of the PV rails out of aluminiums or out of steel, and then they're gonna solder it, and then from there's not that much like study about the weight or the wind resistance. So on my end, I didn't study that. So you have other people kind of improvising and doing it. So I'm more on the invisible side of the world, which is electricity compared to the mechanical.
Okay, that's a question for both of you. So let's go with Tate first. How did you both find and end up at CGCC? Is it your network?
Yeah, kind of. So I was playing baseball at the Okotoks Dogs Baseball Academy in Canada, and initially I had actually written off all junior colleges because it was my assumption, and from what I'd heard, that junior colleges traditionally didn't have much for engineering education, or wouldn't set you up well enough to go to a 4-year school afterwards. And I knew I wanted to do engineering at the time. So it wasn't until I almost didn't have anywhere to go that one of my coaches had actually contacted the coach Russell Luce at Chandler-Gilbert and said he was looking for more guys. I then found out that you guys had your engineering pathway to ASU, and I was like, oh, great, ASU is a fantastic engineering school. And two of my friends were coming down here as well, so I joined them and gave it a shot, and I don't regret it. I think it was awesome there.
Network. And you, Ibrahima?
Yeah, for my case, first of all, for CGCC, I have a family member, my uncle of mine who lives in Gilbert. And then prior to even coming, Chandler-Gilbert was a college that was already in the map, as it was not far away. And then starting from a smaller community college made sense too, especially when I had to overcome the language barrier. So and then when I joined in, I felt the environment was very, very, very friendly. And then it was smaller. Now the school expanded a lot. I remember when I came down there, like you don't find a lot of students, but the quality of the education was there, primary education. And then from there, with having the opportunity to play with the soccer team at the same time, being able to tutor was something really a good experience for foundation transition culturally. Coming to the US, that was a good building block.
What time you used to get to the school, Ibrahima, taking the bus?
But so let me tell you one story again. I used to hang out good time with the janitors around 4 a.m., 5 a.m. in campus. Because my ride was going to work at that time, I had to be dropped down during that time. I remember some of your classes was at 7 a.m. That was a good time for me to, master some of your classes.
Proud of you, my man. Proud of you.
Yeah.
There's a sentence in French that say the future belongs to people who are waking up very early. I don't know if that does exist in English too. That's a good one for you. Okay. A few more questions. Tate and Ibrahima, for both of you, which advice do you have for students who are looking to travel? Maybe not just like staying in Arizona just after their degree. Is engineering a good path? How do you find a job that makes you travel? Maybe Tate first.
Sure. Off the top of my head, I guess the first thing I can think of is engineers are needed everywhere, basically more and more. So it's my opinion, I guess, that if you have an engineering degree, you can always be useful somewhere, and there'll always be opportunity for you, no matter where you are. So that would be a good in, I guess, if you're trying to go somewhere else. Is you're valuable no matter where you go. So,
Mike, do you have a question in between?
Yeah, I just wanted to add or ask a question, and I'm thinking about all kinds of things, but Ibrahima, I really curious about the countries that you serve in Africa. My son has done some work with an architectural group called Mass Design Group, and they did some work in Rwanda and Liberia and some countries there that he traveled to and was able to see. So it's fascinating to me to hear the story of your connections to those countries, and I've learned a little bit because I got to from him, of course, these countries and the work and that they're doing in architecture. And I know that they're developing, but there's so much going on so fast. I'm curious, what countries, and then are you familiar with the Mass Design Group?
So I think you're asking the right guy in terms of which countries. So I would say up to 90% of the African country, the company I'm in, we cover it or we do have a network. So for my case, I cover all West Africa, beside Nigeria and Ghana. I have a colleague of mine who is handling Nigeria and Ghana. So when you talk about Liberia, Sierra Leone, I go there often. So I have to even go there like next month. Okay. So in terms of East Africa and South Africa, I have also a colleague of mine. One of them handling East Africa, all around East Africa. Talk about Tanzania, Kenya, talking about Ethiopia. We have a network there too. So he's handling it. And then even Rwanda, I have a colleague of mine, and then my boss was actually decided to stay in Rwanda for a year, based in Rwanda. So in terms of connection-wise, project-wise, so we have a network of people and solo companies who are locally there to know very well the countries in terms of logistics and then all that comes with it in order to make any projects viable and then successful. And then your last question about the organization you talked about, I haven't heard of them yet, but I'm curious to learn more.
Yeah. Fascinating to me. He is last semester he's studying at Yale, and he went to Benin and to Burkina Faso and to that area there, has learned some too. So again, it's fascinating to me, but I wish you the best as your journey has taken you and what you're doing for electricity in Africa. That's amazing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Really appreciate it.
I love the connections that you are both making, Tate and Ibrahima, the connections and the networking and the work that you did to get you to these places, and it just continues. And I think that's one of the stories that I love to hear, and I love that you're telling it for the students, because I think that it is so important, that story.
Exactly.
Do you have any other questions or words?
I was actually just curious, Michael, you said Coach Luce is the athletic director now.
He is.
That's awesome. If you see him, I'll have to shoot him a text message if I still have his number. But is he still involved with baseball at all? Or if not, who's the head coach now?
You know, I'm sorry that I can't answer the question. I'm not sure who the coach is now.
Okay,
but
no
I think
worries.
it's one of the assistants that was there when he was the head coach. But he's still here, and he's connected to all the sports. But he would have loved to hear the story. I will definitely share your words with him, and hopefully, I don't know if this is being recorded or not, but I'd love to make sure that he could watch it too, because he's still here. He's still connected, and he's still doing a lot of work for the athletes here at Chandler-Gilbert. And I know that Ibrahim, was Jeff Mason the coach when you were here, or was it Ed Yeager when not the coach, but the athletic director when you were here?
That I forgot, but I do remember. John was a coach.
John, yes.
Yeah, John was a
I
coach.
do remember John. He's not here now. He's not here now.
Okay.
He's doing well. He's doing well. He has a family now. He's busy.
Oh, all right. That's good. He's still in Arizona?
Yes, he is. He went to Colorado for a little bit, and then he came back here. So I'm not sure exactly where he's at, but I think he's still in Arizona here.
Okay. I need to come down there and visit. See Bassam with a gray hair, Mike with a gray hair. Need to pay you a visit.
Well, having 3 kids, you're not going to be farther from now.
I know, right?
Michael, does the name Mike Campbell sound familiar to you by chance?
No,
he was
I'm
the
not
assistant
sure.
coach when I was there, so I didn't know if he had taken on a larger role. But
I have to check real quick.
I could probably look it up as well on the athletics page, but
Right.
I presume Ed Yeager's retired then. He was the athletic director when I was there.
You're correct. He has retired. He's retired now, and don't see him much. But of course, it was during that pandemic time that was really difficult for all the athletes that
Sure.
were here. And he retired shortly,
John
right after
Watson's
he
the
came
head
back.
coach. Sorry,
Okay.
I just
Thanks,
saw in the
Ashley.
chat. John Watson's the head coach. I loved John. He was amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. That's fantastic. Okay, cool.
Cool.
Rahima, what time you have in your country now? 8 o'clock?
Yeah, it's 8 p.m. Like short
Okay.
3 minutes of that, almost 8 p.m. Yeah.
I'll probably go to bed.
No, the kids are gonna.
Ibrahima and Tate, I just want to really thank you all for your transparency during your presentations. Sometimes it's difficult for students to actually talk about their challenges, and they really don't know how inspiring and uplifting and validating it is for students that are experiencing some of those same feelings, some of those same challenges, and just how you overcame it, and how that's how you felt then, but you just staying the course and being open to learning and growing where you are now. So I really applaud you, because a lot of people keep stuff and feel like that they're the only ones that have experienced this, and they don't want to show their cards. So thank you for showing your cards to us.
Definitely. Yeah, I know that was it was a large factor, honestly, really, in my post-secondary career. And I ended up seeing like a few different like school counselors involved in that, and unfortunately one of them was absolutely terrible and arguably made the situation worse. But there was some good help that I saw there, and I was never once criticized for anything I was going through. So I just want to make sure that everyone else is aware that those opportunities are available, and that, yeah, like you said, a lot more people than you think are going through it. So
It's a good reminder for us to always share resources openly, and because we never know, and we cannot, yeah, we cannot see what's everything that's happening. We just see our students, amazing they are, how they perform academically, how smiley they are in class, and not always what is behind. So yeah, thank you.
yeah, well, thank you guys so much for the opportunity. I'm very happy to be able to share my experience here and reconnect with some of you guys, especially Fanny and Nicole. It was great to be able to talk to you guys again and chat.
Yeah, our pleasure too. We'll meet you again in the future.
Perfect.
I want to also thank everybody. Being honest, that's a privilege. Just coming down here, almost more than 10 years again. Talk about the process you went through, and then being able to have the people who mentor you still sitting here healthy, and then witnessing it, and then at the same time being able to share it to the upcoming generation. That's a blessing, being honest with you. And then CGCC, just keep it up, keep doing what you're doing, and then you don't know where your impact's going to be. Case is me being on the other side of the continent. I went through you guys training, so I really do appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you both, guys. Thank you, Ibrahima. If you need connection with Sierra Leone, let me know. I got
All right,
something there.
no problem, will do.
All right.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Care.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Good to see you.
Fanny, great job. Bassam, great job. Thank you.
Thank
so
you,
much.
Mike.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Mike.
Thank you for coming. Appreciate
Made
it.
my day. Made my day.